Okay, so I'm going to hook up the bend. I've got my bend attribute set to a positive 10, and I need to set the bend curvature to bend the toothbrush as far forward as I ever think it should. Sure, we'll go all the way there. And click key, and then go to the main attribute, set it to negative 10. Go to my bend node, set the curvature back as far as I ever think it should go. We'll go negative 180 and key. Now that's all done. And my toothbrush can deform to my animator's heart's content. Okay, so I can bend it backwards, I can twist it to the side a little bit if I want to, and I can, apply pressure to the bristles, or negative pressure if I want to for some reason. And there's our toothbrush. Now also, because I've parented the geometry and the deformers to this main control, I can move this control wherever I want to, and the toothbrush is going to stay deformed, and I can pose it wherever I want to in my scene, all with the main control. Okay? So with that being said, we need to further lock down the mesh just to wrap it up nicely. The toothbrush by itself should never move at all, period. Okay? And in fact, we don't even want the animator to be able to grab the toothbrush. They should only be able to grab the control itself. So I'm going to select all of the attributes on the toothbrush. I'll leave out the visibility one. And I'm going to lock those. So right click after you select them and lock them. Now the toothbrush, you'll see that my manipulator handles have turned gray. It cannot move now. It can't scale. It can't rotate. That's really good, because we want the animator to only be able to move this toothbrush with our control. Okay? Now we need to do the same thing with these, because if the animator moves these, it's also destructive to our rig. They will break it. So I select all these attributes, including the visibility this time, because I don't really want them to see the deformers. They need to use the custom attributes that we created. So I select those and lock. Okay, now they can't move those either. And now, but they can still select the toothbrush. And you say, well, what's the harm in that? They could go into component mode and try to resculpt the stupid thing. And that would also break our rig. We don't want that to happen. Okay? So, what you have to do is press Control A to go to your attribute editor. And you go to Object Display, Drawing Overrides, Enable Drawing Overrides, and then set Display Type to Reference. So now they cannot select it in the viewport. It's kind of like setting a layer to reference. In fact, it's the very same thing, except you're doing it to an individual object. Okay, so now the only thing they can select is the main control. And our rig is fully locked down. They can scale it up or scale it down if they need it to be bigger or smaller, and rotate it and do whatever they want to do. And also importantly, they can get it back to its default pose really easy by selecting all the translate rotate attributes and the squash and stretch and bend and twist, and set them to 0, and they can set the scales to 1, and everything's back to default and everything's hunky-dory. And we've got a completely rigged toothbrush. Okay, so I'll save this as toothbrush. I forgot to set my project, so I'll have to navigate it to it manually. Let's see. My project, midterm, scenes. I'm going to call this one toothbrush, and again, I'm saving it as a Maya ASCII file. Okay, and now it's completely done.